I was asking boys about Chelsea. They've been linked to Šeško. There was talk they made a financial offer to Osimhen. None of those look like they're happening. What we have seen today from Matt Law, and it backs up Simon Phillips, who's very credible, is Samu Omorodion. They are talking to Ati about bringing this guy in. He's now their number one target up front. Is this the guy, along with Dewsbury Hall, along with Tosin, along with the other youngsters they've signed, that are going to get Chelsea back into the Champions League, back challenging for the Premier League next season? Some Chelsea fans that come on the terrace, the Dons and the Cheses, do believe they've got a top 4 squad already. Is Samu Omorodion the guy, Staffy?
I'm not gonna lie, I barely know anything about him since we talked last time. I honestly don't know. I wish Don was here so we can waffle about him. But
he's done his research.
Yeah, listen, unlike Don, I didn't do my research. I didn't spend 2 hours watching clips. But I will say this: when it comes to Chelsea, I actually don't know what Chelsea need. Like that's the one thing this is why I actually don't like to talk about Chelsea, because I actually don't know what they need. You know, I could give you maybe my slight opinion on maybe getting a goalkeeper or stuff like that. But when I look at their links versus what I see on the pitch, I never know why they're linked with certain players. I don't know if they're going in for a striker. I don't know if they're going in for a winger. I don't know if they're going in for a defender. I don't know if they're going in for a midfielder. I really don't know. And they're always linked to players that I've never heard of before. And I'm just looking at it, I'm like, okay, so why are you linked with all these young and upcoming players when this is the time you're supposed to add a little bit more experience? So it's Chelsea of the last 2 years again. And I don't want to sit here and banter them, because a lot of people like to do that. And I don't like to do this whole thing of just trying to wind up the fan base. But they're just a confusing team for me right now. You know, I hear a lot of predictions on what's going to happen for them next season. Like, oh, we're good enough to finish the top 4. Then I don't know, how, based on what did you say that? Because you're linked with a bunch of players that are all youngsters and they're all over the place. So it's not even a specific. So how could you make a prediction when you don't even know what you're seriously going for? You know, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't even want to go back to this because I know you guys talked about it, but there's so much unrest going on in the Chelsea locker room right now. All that combined with a new manager coming in and a new regime coming in, there's so much going on. So much. I cannot sit here and talk about Chelsea like I understand what's going on.
Donna said here, man said watching clips as if I wasn't watching clips focusing on the player of all actions from the game, the same game chronologically.
I mean, he has a good point. I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather watch the clips.
But the question is, maybe he does it with Chelsea players. Do you guys believe that Don sat there and watched every action of all these players one after the other? And how many games would he have to do it on to get a true understanding? You probably got to do it on at least 4, 5, 6 games. He
played 38 games, by the way, last season. So I hope Don is ready to watch all 38 games for Lenny Euro. Because you said I'd
love to know, even when it comes to the Chelsea players, how much are you actually watching? A genuine question. I'm not even trying to dig, because I use Y Scout, and I'm not going to lie, I don't use Y Scout to watch. I don't watch every single action. I focus on certain attributes that I believe are important. So when it comes to a striker, I would look at hold-up play. I would look at sort of their sort of first touches. I definitely look at their shooting as an example. I like watching a striker. I like to see how cleanly they strike a ball. I think you can see a player and go, you get those strikers that kind of do a lot of scuff shots, and you think, oh, like the ball seems to hit the bottom of their foot a lot. I like to watch them dribble to see whether they tackle themselves. Like, there's certain things I look for on Y Scout. Then obviously you watch full matches. But what I spend a lot of my time doing is reading top-level scout reports, because I'm then I suppose I'm putting my faith in a scout as opposed to doing my own direct research. But that's what we do in most other walks of life. If you want to learn about dogs, you would read something a dog expert writes, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? You wouldn't actually physically do the research into the dogs yourself. So I don't know. And that's
how much time has he got really to be spending all this time? He said watching 3-4 games worth of a Man United signing. Like,
nah,
why would he do that?
He ain't doing it. He ain't doing it. Don, we're calling you out, Don.
I call BS, Don. I call BS.
We love you, bro. We love you. But by the way, it won't be nice to Don in the chat. Like, it's only a bit of friendly banter here. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Relax, people.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. There's a comment that came through actually that says, Terry, I watched Omorodion last season play. I firmly believe he has the potential to be a good player if he comes to the Premier League. And look, again, I've said this about Chelsea all year. So maybe similarly to what Staffy said, I am not writing off what they can do. I don't know. I don't know enough about the manager. I don't, and listen, I'm not going to lie. Even though I sort of talk football for a job, I don't have the time to sit there and watch 10 to 15 Leicester City games to have a full understand, to have a better understanding. I just don't have the time to do that, and nor do most people that do what I do for a living. Plus, at the same time, watch that amount of games of Omorodion, that guy, whatever his name is. You know, I can't spend that much time on all these players. So I think I've done some good business. I think Tosin's excellent. I really am jealous that Chelsea have got him. I like Dewsbury Hall. I think that he's being utterly disrespected by people. I do think, though, when I think Osimhen or Omorodion, the only problem I have with their approach is still there's so much rawness coming in. And how much rawness can be developed at the same time as also trying to get back into Champions League football and challenge for Premier Leagues. It's the balance of those two things. It's a lot of development of players whilst trying to create a team that can win and be consistent. And typically the development of young players and consistency don't go together unless you have a really good core of experienced pros of playing well. And that's the bit I'm not sure on Chelsea. So I'm not going to, but that's why out of all the teams, barring Man United, I'm most excited to watch Chelsea in pre-season to start to get an understanding of what it's going to look like, how they're going to play, how they come together. Now, pre-season isn't real games, so handling the pressure of a real football match is different. But look, Chelsea's a real interesting one because they're signing a lot of players nobody's heard of. But in my opinion, that makes it hard to assess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just think that's not the direction that they need to be going for. And so you asked the question earlier, is this a sign that can get them to, back in the Champions League? And look, as much as none of us have watched him, we haven't put in the hours to watch 4 games of him in our spare time and all of that. I just can't see it. Like I said, okay, they don't create enough chances, but he still only scored 8 goals and he hasn't been prolific before that. So what has he got them credentials that he can come into the Premier League and be Chelsea's main man at 20 years old to fire them over the line and get them top 4? Maybe he could develop into a really great player in the future. We're talking about now. I don't see it if that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on because of all the chopping and changing going on, especially with a new manager and most of these young players. I'm gonna probably say this every time they're linked with a young player, just because of the current situation. If they were more of an established team, I would be like, yes. I just feel like it gives them more to worry about again going to next season. Because last season you had the same idea. Nico Jackson came in, 23 years old. How is he gonna do in his first year? Now we saw how he did in his first year, and we're like, okay, this is what he's good at. This is not what he's good at. Get someone who does what he's not good at. But instead, they're going to get someone that we still need a whole year to learn about, in the Premier League. It's like, honestly, the best analogy is like, honestly, imagine you're just putting a puzzle together. You have a few pieces missing. Every time you reach to these few pieces missing, you just redo the whole thing again. You put new pieces together, but now you put pieces again. This is what Chelsea looked to me in the last 3 years. Every year, I feel like I know enough about them. They change a lot of things. They change a manager, and I'm like, all right, I need to rewatch him again. So this has been ongoing for 3 years right now. So I can't really make an honest assessment on what they need. They need to get Lukaku out. I'll tell you that. I can't believe that guy's still there.
Yeah, he's got to go.
Because I'm hearing they want to pay 20 million for him.
Don here says, how are you, man, questioning what I do in my spare time? Staffy, I told you I'm going to watch man's games back so I can actually see what he's on. This is what I want you to do for us, Don. We'll lay a challenge down. You ask us for what you want as a reward. The next time you say you're going to go and do the research, I want you to record it yourself doing it. So I want you to do it on like time lapse. That doesn't use up all your memory, but put your phone on time lapse and record yourself watching hours and hours of footage of a rivals player you're signing. Prove to us you did it, because what we're saying is, I believe you do it for Chelsea players. I don't believe you've got the staying power to do it for a rival player. So get that on time lapse and record it, brother. Tony to Arsenal makes them clear favourites. If Saka and Saliba get injured for 3 months, do you think Arsenal win the league? Tony.
Can I call out what's wrong with the super chat?
Go on.
So he thinks Tony makes him clear favorite, but at the same time, he's asking if 2 injuries in this case, one of them happens, do you think they'll win the league? It means you have doubt if you don't have proper coverage for Saliba and Saka. And I don't think Tony makes them clear favorites because I don't think they have a striker issue more than they have a winger or midfield issue.
Yeah.
So,
Again, if they do lose Saliba and Saka for 3 solid months each, then no, I don't think they'll win the league. I don't think you. I don't
at the same time, or one of them, because I mean, to be fair, it said
yeah,
4.
yeah, or one of them, yes, they could still do it. Both of them, no.
I think they have more coverage for Saliba than they do with Saka, because we're gonna have to see Timber next season, and they didn't get to see Timber. Timber can play across the back line, so that's one thing that will help them. But Saka goes down, you still. That's what I'm saying. Go get your Nico Williams. Go get your Pedro Neto. Go get someone.
Martinelli had a subpar season, injured, couldn't break into the latter part. I think we need a winger like Nico, just to bring freshness. Both will be great. We need to win Premier League, Champions League, or both. That's a great super chat, Krishna. Dying. Someone said Igal would have cooked Trump, Biden.
Imagine a debate between Trump, Biden, and Igal.
I mean, Trump would annihilate. I mean, Trump would beat most people in a debate. To be fair,
cook Igal, yeah.
Oh, Igal would be going home crying. But Igal and Biden, I wonder if it would be amazing.
Both going on random tangents and not really.
Yeah. My favorite thing Igal can do, we can be sitting there talking about Arsenal's title challenge, and just going to go, guys, yeah. Did you see what happened in The Boys? So why are you bringing that up? It's so weird. What if Don has 8 screens to watch games to scout more players like I do? But this is the thing, Strasbourg. You show pictures of it. You prove it. And that's what I love about you, brother. Look, I want to thank
everyone. Wait. With Don's Wi-Fi, I promise you, does not have 8 screens. You see that?
I love it. Listen, we love Don loads here at the Terrace. Listen.